All right, here we go. Welcome to the second season of my podcast, Perspectives on the Journey to a Better Self. I am very excited about this season, something I've been looking forward to a long time. This season is going to be about money and the impact it has on my life and on life in general. And also, one of the main questions being, does money actually make you happy? And to give you some context on who I am and also why I am going to be discovering this topic, let me tell you a story of the last year, especially on how I see money. Basically, 1 year ago, I was still studying. I was studying business, and my belief around money was basically do what you love, whatever it is, just do what you love the most doing, and then eventually money will come and money will flow in. And my motivation was also one of my core values was never do something just for the money. Always do things that you love doing, and then the money will eventually come. And whilst this belief was very beautiful, I did some beautiful things with it. I started my own business that was focused on helping nonprofits. I got 12 students together, all focusing on helping one nonprofit in Ghana. And then after 6 months of helping them online, I went to Ghana to see the work that we did for 6 months. And it was a beautiful experience. It was great. It was an amazing time. I worked my ass off for 6 months and it was a super meaningful thing. But I also got in a lot of debt because living costs money, traveling to Ghana costs money, and a lot of things in life cost money, right? And I was not making any because I was working for these nonprofits. So then with my beautiful belief, just do what you love and money will come eventually, kind of got a bit debunked because now I just needed money. Didn't matter that I was doing what I loved, I just needed money right now to live. So I decided to take a job. It was a perfect job for me at that time. I was working for a Dutch company that also is focused on helping nonprofits, the Nieuwe Gevers. It was an extremely fun place to work at. I had a great time there, super flexible job as well. I learned a lot. It was also helping nonprofits. It was super meaningful. It was great. And I loved the job, really. And so I was doing that for around 4 months, doing it only 16 hours a week. So part-time, 2 days a week. And I made minimum wage with that, which is in the Netherlands around €1,000 a month. And this was okay. I could live off of this. I didn't have not a fancy life, but I could more or less manage myself. And I could basically just get by and saving a lot of money, not going out to eat, not doing a lot of fun stuff, just living. But after a couple of months of doing that, I had a big change of belief around money. Because first, I was focused on making a positive impact on the world with my work and doing something to better the world. But then I realized that to have an impact on the world, to save the world, I first need to save myself. So I will not do big things with my life. I will not be able to have a big positive impact on the world if I am worrying about how I'm going to pay rent next month. So my realization was that I need to make sure that I'm not worrying about money anymore so that I can worry about bigger problems. First save my own house and then think about the bigger picture and help other people as well. And that was just taking in mind having an impact on the world, which is something important to me. But also next to that, there's the point of me enjoying my life for which I need money, which also matters, right? And I was thinking, what is a good goal for me to not worry about money and to do whatever I want? And that's when a couple of months ago, I set the goal to make €10,000 a month. This sounded like a lot to me. Like it sounded like way too much money because it's more than my parents are making and I don't need that much, right? I was thinking. But I thought to travel around, to be able to do whatever I want, to be able to just take a flight right now to wherever I want, to be able to just rent a camper van and drive off and to be able to do all those amazing things, that is a good baseline from which I can save a little bit and live a lifestyle that I love. But to make €10,000 a month, I needed to be an entrepreneur and I was not going to make that in a job, especially not as a starter. And so that's when my belief of just doing what you love, never do something just for the money, changed a bit, and I made it as an important thing that I want to make that 10,000 euros a month. And then afterwards, I'm not going to worry about money anymore. So I basically changed what I was doing to two things. One thing that I like with the goal of making money, and one thing that I absolutely love which is my passion and which is what I love doing the most. And right now, that thing that I love doing the most, my passion, is this podcast. And it is working on my self-development, speaking to interesting people about these topics that really interested me, and sharing that with everyone. I really love to do that. It's really a passion of mine. I love it. And then the other thing I like, which I'm doing now to make money, is online marketing. Basically, I help social entrepreneurs, so entrepreneurs that do something for the climate. I help them with their email marketing. I'm not going to go too deep into that. You can check my personal YouTube channel out if you want to know more about it. But basically, I help them make more money, and I'm getting paid for the extra money that I make them, and I'm not getting paid for the time I put in. So this is what I decided to do and what I started to do 3-4 months ago. Right now, where I'm at is I am learning that skill. I'm learning email marketing. I am doing courses on it. I was working for free for a company to build my portfolio. And I'm right now just about to get my first paying client. So I'm just about to make my first money with it. So that is basically where I'm at right now and my story of my beliefs around money of the last year. And that's also the reason why I'm doing this podcast. But I'm also doing this podcast now about money to figure out a problem and a dilemma that I'm constantly thinking of at the moment. And it is the dilemma of balancing those things that I love to do, so the podcast, and the things that I like to do, and that is to make money, the email marketing. I'm trying to find a balance between those two. Because doing something to make money as an entrepreneur, it costs a lot of time and mental energy. And that time of mental energy I spend on making money, I cannot spend on doing the podcast, which is my passion and which is what I love. So I was thinking maybe it's better if I just take a job and work specific hours for that. And then I'm able to spend a lot more time on the podcast, which is the thing that I love. And that is a big dilemma, right? Basically the dilemma of what is gonna bring me the most happiness eventually. Is it gonna be to work for the money at first so that I can live the lifestyle that I want to live, or just do what I love all the time and not worry so much about money and just keep living, saving on everything, not able to go out to eat a lot or not be able to do really nice things, just getting by barely. And because I'm currently dealing with that struggle and currently learning about that and currently kind of figuring out what I want to do in that, this is the perfect moment for me to do this podcast. And in this podcast, I'm going to speak to a lot of different guests about this topic who all have a very, very different view. For example, I'm going to speak about money to a homeless guy. I'm going to speak to a self-made millionaire that came from poverty and is now a millionaire. I'm going to speak to someone that has always been rich and inherited a lot of money. I'm going to speak to a philosophy professor to see what he thinks, to get real deep into the topic and to get real deep about life and the effect money has on it. And maybe I'm going to speak to a far left politician and a far right politician about money. I'm probably going to do a lot of episodes in this season to dive really deep into the topic and to have a lot of interesting conversations with radically different perspectives for me to learn about it personally. But aside from that, I also have to live it. So a personal goal next to the podcast for the coming months is that I want to make 5,000 euros a month with the email marketing so that I know what it's like to make that amount of money and that I can decide off of that if that's something that's worth spending my time on instead of spending that time on the podcast. Because I can only really decide for myself once I've actually lived it. So yes, those are my personal goals and my goals for the podcast of this season. I'm very, very excited for it. Very excited to speak to these people and also very excited to share all the story with you and to figure it all out because that's what this podcast is all about. So if you are interested in following this and following this journey, follow me, follow the podcast, subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening, or on YouTube to stay up to date with the new episodes. I'm also going to be starting in a couple of months posting short videos on Instagram and TikTok. So follow me on there. I'll put links down below. And thank you for listening, and see you in the first episode. Bye bye.